Get ready, Galactic Rangers, because today I'm going to be talking about the game that's based on the movie that was based on the game, and that can only be, of course, the 2016 Ratchet Clank game on that one bullshit PlayStation trophy. So the 2016 game was basically a movie licensed game that also doubled as a remake of the original PS2 Ratchet & Clank game. So if you played that one, you'll kind of know all the levels and what to expect, so it shouldn't give you too much trouble to complete. However, if you're going for the Platinum trophy in this game, there is perhaps one trophy that will give you a bit of a nightmare in order to unlock it, and that for me was the Death by Disco Bronze trophy, which required you to use the Groovitron on every type of enemy.
What the fuck?
Yep, that's right. It expects you to use it on every single goddamn enemy type in the entire game. In total, there are almost 50 unique enemies that you need to use this weapon on. Oh my god, and worst of all, there's no in-game stat tracker, so you can't easily keep an eye on which enemies you've actually used this weapon on and which ones you still need to get, so it just makes this even more complex than it ever needed to be. It's such a basic feature that you should have included. Show me which enemies I need to use this on, for fuck's sake. And perhaps even more annoying than that, you don't actually get this weapon, the Groovitron, until you're partway through the game. So your first playthrough, you can't get it because you've already missed a bunch of enemies before you've got to the planet that actually has it in the store for you to buy. So you have to do it all in your second playthrough on challenge mode. So make sure that you get all of the ones that you've missed within that first playthrough. So it forces you to play the game again in order to get this trophy. And whatever you do, make sure you don't mess it up and miss one of the enemies in this challenge mode playthrough, because if you complete that, then you'll find that when you go into your third playthrough, your stats will reset. Oh, it's just so frustrating. And another problem I have with it is that some of the enemies are kind of obscure. For the most part, you can tell that an enemy can dance because it will have arms and legs, or it's a more humanoid sort of robot figure, so it's kind of simple to realise that they will dance. But there's some enemies, like the tanks and vehicles, that you just don't expect to be able to dance, and because the Groovitron isn't a weapon that can kill things, merely just distract them so you can shoot them with other weapons, you won't always go to use it on those because you'll just think it's a waste. But you can actually make these vehicles dance because they'll start to sort of transform and move around, and there's quite a few of these different tanks that all kind of look similar, and that just makes it awkward because you always think that you've got one, but it's actually a different one. There are also these helicopters with people piloting them, and you can actually throw the disco balls at those, and the flying enemies will then dance, but you don't always think they will. And these tentacles on this train level, are they accounting for it? You have no idea because the stat tracker isn't included. Another issue with this trophy is that the bosses in the game also count towards this trophy. My god, what were they thinking? You only get one single opportunity to fight these bosses, so if you don't throw your Groovitron down during the boss fight, then you're just fucked. That is so dumb, because these weapons aren't going to actually damage the boss, so you just wouldn't actually think that these would count. You would just think it was the normal enemies, but no, you have to use them on the boss fights, and if you die during the boss fight, make sure you throw it again so it counts. Even worse than that, the final bosses against Quark and Dr. Nefarious also count towards this trophy. My word. What were they thinking? Why include the bosses? I just don't get that. And whatever you do, do not miss Dr. Nefarious, because that will mean you have to replay the entire game to get back there and then throw a Groovitron at him in order to make him dance and then finally get this fucking annoying trophy. It's just such an awkward and annoying collectible trophy, and like I said earlier, a lot of the enemies in this game do look really similar, and although it says enemy types, there are still some that look kind of the same, but they actually are classed as a different enemy type, which is just really awkward. It would be really nice if the game showed you a stat tracker and photos of each enemy type to make it easier, but the fact that it doesn't do that, it just means that you'll constantly be spamming this Groovitron when you come across anything that moves, just in case. All of that just makes this trophy a really frustrating one to get, that in reality should have been a really simple collectible type trophy that just required you to throw them at each enemy. A simple stat tracker would have made this trophy a hell of a lot easier, and the fact that you don't get the weapon until partway through the game, forcing you to do it on the second playthrough, makes it frustrating, and the inclusion of the bosses towards this trophy makes it a really highly missable trophy, and one that will force you to make repeated playthroughs in order to get it. And for that reason, the Death by Disco trophy gets a bullshit trophy rating of
bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Bullshit. You say so? So bullshit.
Bullshit.